Well, I know that for many years Adventism taught that it was Hiram Edson having a vision.
He's on our chart down below.
He's on the chart down here. In the cornfield, in which he saw Christ entering from the holy place in heaven, as if there was a temple in heaven, just like the old Jewish temple, into the most holy. However, today we know that actually, or contemporary scholarship knows, that it was actually begun by a man named O.R.L. Crozier, who began some theological speculation that actually Christ had entered the most holy place and was offering a final atonement for the sins of the world. Now, Crozier gave up on this belief. He renounced it later on. However, it was adopted by the Young Movement, and this is the beginning of the 1844 movement within the Adventism Church, which teaches that in 1844, Christ entered from the holy place into the most holy place and is up there offering in heaven, offering a final investigative judgment. They are going through the books, deciding who belongs in heaven and who does not. And instead of, in other words, the final atonement having been offered in the cross, as Christianity has always taught, that it is still going on in the courts of heaven today. I might add that this 1844 belief is the only truly unique belief of Seventh-day Adventism. All other so-called unique doctrines are held by some other sect or cult somewhere.
Right. But this all goes back to well, everyone thought it was Hiram Edson, and now
That's right.
it really goes back to this other guy, and I guess it wasn't out in the cornfield either.
No, it was just theological supposition he wrote up. I believe it was a paper called The Day Star.
I see.
Which this came.
And Ellen G. White just picked up on it.
She picked up on it. It was confirmed soon, perhaps by vision. I might add that the shut door vision was never renounced. God evidently never saw fit to inform her that she was wrong with her first vision.
And as far as you know, well, that was, what is that, about 140, 50 years ago?
This would be the middle to late 1840s.
So surely they don't hold to this theological speculation anymore about the investigative judgment.
Oh yes, they do. The shut door has been allowed to lapse. In fact, for over 100 years, Adventism denied that it had ever taken place, or that Ellen White, I should say, had confirmed this with vision. Well, it was only in the 1970s they found a letter of hers, as well as other writings of the period, which showed that she had confirmed it with vision. But
well,
yes, they teach that today.
How do they deal with that? If she's confirmed if she's confirmed with vision, the shut door, that no one gets saved after what, 1844 or whatever it was, no one's saved. I mean, anyone born after that, you're lost and going to hell. And they say she's a prophet. How do they deal with that? Do they just try to sweep it under the rug or something?
Well, let's put it like this. I would say that 99% of Seventh-day Adventists had no idea this had ever occurred. Believe me, they don't want it out. The typical reaction of a Seventh-day Adventist to finding this out is that of being stunned.
Oh, really?
Yes. The White Estate, which is the guardian of the Ellen White books, has equivocated, you might say, played all kinds of word games with it, etc. I have a pamphlet which I quote in my book from 1980, in which they said that Ellen White misinterpreted the vision, that she would you like me to read the passage?
If you've got it, go ahead.
Yes, I do.
That's what we're here for. Get into...
This is from the book 101 Questions on Ellen White and the Sanctuary. And here it is from the pamphlet. Ellen misinterpreted this vision. She correctly understood that the day of salvation for the latter two groups, those who had either rejected or eventually left the Millerites, was past. For them, the door was shut. But she incorrectly concluded that no one could accept Christ after October 22, that only the little flock remaining in the household of faith would be saved, and that everyone else would be lost. Now, this is very interesting, isn't it? Please notice that Ellen misinterpreted the vision. Think about it. In 1 Peter 1, or 2 Peter 1:20, the Bible clearly states that the true prophet of God never interprets his visions. Ellen not only interpreted her visions. She misinterpreted her vision. I've also heard Robert Olson state that God...
Who's he?
Robert Olson has been the head of the White Estate. His explanation was that God deceived the group.
God deceived the group?
Yes. Now, to me, that's the mark of a true fanatic.
They'd rather blame God.
Blame God.
So,
sad.
well, what it looks like to me is there's actually some outright suppression of information being...
It has been. There's been a great deal of deceit. F.D. Nichols wrote a book called Ellen White and Her Critics in the early 1980s. The man had access to and knew of that 1847 letter. I have a copy of it. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here it is. These are statements written first by James White in 1847. Can you focus in on that?
Let's see what we got here. James White in 18... Now this is
1847.
This is Ellen G.
her
White's husband.
He writes, when she received her first vision, December 1844, she and all the band in Portland, Maine, where her parents then resided, had given up the midnight cry and shut door. They had given up on it as being in the past. It was then that the Lord shewed her in vision the error into which she and the band in Portland had fallen. She then related her vision to the band, and about 60 confessed her error and acknowledged their 7th-month experience to be the work of God. In other words, they had been wrong when they had given up on the shut door. Now here is Ellen White writing to Joseph Bates, another early Adventist leader. In 1847, the view about the bridegroom's coming I had about the middle of February 1845, while in Exeter, Maine, in meeting with Israel Damon, about whom I'll have a lot to say later, James and many others, many of them did not believe in a shut door. I suffered much at the commencement of the meeting. Unbelief seemed to be on every hand. There was one sister there that was called Very Spiritual. This is incidentally an early rival to Ellen White's visions. Sister Durbin. She had been truly a mother of Israel, but a division had risen in the band on the shut door. She had great sympathy and could not believe the door was shut. I had known nothing of their difference. Sister Durbin got up to talk. I felt very sad. Going on, the next page.
Next page, next page.
At length my soul seemed to be in agony, and while she was talking, I fell from my chair to the floor. This was Ellen's first vision. It was then I had a view of Jesus rising from his mediatorial throne and going to the holiest as bridegroom to receive his kingdom. They were all deeply interested in the view. They all said it was entirely new to them. The Lord worked in mighty power, setting the truth home to their hearts. Sister Durbin knew what the power of the Lord was, for she had felt it many times. And in a short time after I fell, she was struck down and fell to the floor, crying to God to have mercy on her. When I came out of the vision, my ears were saluted with Sister Durbin singing and shouting with a loud voice. Most of them received the vision and were settled upon the shut door. Notice, her vision confirms the shut door. Now, in 1884, this is what she says. And please notice that. The statements say that her vision corrected her error and made her give up disbelieving the shut door doctrine. But look what she says in 1884. For a time after the disappointment in 1844, I did hold in common with the Advent body that the door of mercy was then forever closed to the world. This position was taken before my first vision was given me.
If you like our YouTube channel, please subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button and then by also clicking the bell above to get an automatic update whenever we produce another YouTube video for our See Answers TV channel. Please share our videos with your friends and relatives. May God bless you. Only one life will soon be passed. Only what is done for Christ will last. To see the full-length video, please select by tapping on the first screen to the right. To see the entire playlist where this particular video is found, select by tapping on a touchscreen on a cell phone or by clicking on a regular computer. The second screen to the right.